All right, let's say that we want our character to either jump or leap, or maybe just move in an upward direction on the screen. You've got a couple of options to make your characters do that. If you go to the motion category, we could use, if you're wanting to go in an upward direction, you've got some options. You can use your go to XY command, and you could take your character and drag it to that location where you want them, and then that'll put in the coordinates, but the go to XY will just make your character teleport. You could use the glide 1 second to your XY location. This will actually give you that smooth movement where you will actually see your character move from point A to point B. You could also do a change Y by command, which will take your character straight up, however many steps straight up on the Y-axis. So you won't get any X movement on the X-axis, but you'll just get only Y movement. But once again, it's kind of a teleportation. I do, in the scene that we're creating here, I do want my cat to have a little bit of movement. I'm going to make my cat leap. And so I am actually going to drag my cat up to right there. And I'm going to use the glide because I want to see him go from point A to point B. So I'm going to put a glide in underneath of my repeat where he moved forward and backward. And that's going to take him up to this point. And then if I want him to come down and land on the ground, because what goes up must come down, I can grab him and I can bring him down, and I'm actually going to bring him down here at the corner. And I can bring in another glide command and put it right underneath of it. Notice that it put in both of my coordinates each time I did that. Let's do a quick test. Make sure he's going to do what I want him to do. There we go. He did a nice little leap for me. All right. All right, let's talk about having your character use speech bubbles or thought bubbles. So that is located in the looks category. And so we have a say hello block for 2 seconds, or a regular say hello block that's not controlled for a certain number of seconds. We have a think block that is controlled with a number of seconds, and then just a regular think block. The say block and the think block that is not controlled by seconds, whatever they say or think will stay there forever or until the next speech bubble or thought bubble is programmed in. And so if you want your speech bubble or thought bubble to go away right after they say it, then you need to use the one that is for a certain number of seconds. So I am going to have my cat say hello before my cat does the repeat motion back and forth. So I'm going to put that right in there. And that way he will say hello right before he starts moving back and forth. Let's test that. All right, worked like we wanted it to. On our last slide, we talked about bringing in a speech bubble. On this particular slide, I would like to talk about adding sounds. So one of the sounds that I want to add, I would actually like to coordinate it with my speech bubble. And you can find your sounds here in the sounds category, but let's go see what our character or our sprite is preloaded with. My cat, or sprite 1, happens to be preloaded already with a meow, which is great because that's one that I want to use. So if I wanted different sounds for him, I could come down here to choose a sound, and I have those same 4 options that I had when I was choosing a sprite, or possibly when I was choosing a backdrop. So you could choose from any of those, but I'm good with the meow, so I'm going to go back to the code. And you have a couple of options here. You've got play sound meow until done. That's going to make it play for a longer period of time. I just want him to meow 1 time, so I'm going to use the start sound meow, and I'm going to put it above his say hello. The reason I want to do that is start sound meow has no particular amount of time on it. It's not like the glide where you have it gliding for 1 second or where he's saying hello for 2 seconds. Because it doesn't have a time on it, the computer is going to run the start sound meow at the same time as the say hello for 2 seconds. So he will be meowing at the same time he's saying hello, which I think will work out really well because that's how a cat says hello. So let's go ahead and test that and make sure it works. Okay, one little thing I might change is he said hello for 2 seconds, like a long time. So I might make that 1 second instead, just to make it a little bit shorter so that it fits a little bit better with the meow. All right, and so I know that I like that combination there. Before I leave this, I do want you to go back to the sound category, and I want you to go to the sound library. And I actually want you to go out to the music loops option. And music loops are something that you can put in that could be background music that can be played over and over again to make it sound like background music. And so the one I'm going to choose down here is Drum Funky. So I chose Drum Funky. And so now I have 2 sounds built in on the cat. So if I go back to the code, I'm going to choose play sound until done. Right now it still says meow. So I'm going to switch it over to Drum Funky. And I'm going to leave this sitting over here because we're going to come back and talk about this here in a little bit. But I'm going to choose to leave it over here. So if you guys will pick up a music loop and leave it over here too, that'll be great. So we just got done putting in sounds. And so now I would like to go back to we talked about the green flag, which was in the events category. We have another way to start different code with a different block here, and it's called WinKeyPressed block. And so if we bring that over and I do the drop down arrow here, you're going to see that I can use just about most of the keys on our keyboard to control different things. WinKeyPressed actually works really well when you're creating a game. It's not used as much in the animation because with an animation you just want to press start and just let it go. But we're going to go ahead because I want to show you this block. I'm going to go ahead and add it into our tutorial here. We're going to leave it just as the space bar. And I'm going to bring it down here and I am going to attach it to that music loop that we had earlier. The problem is if I press the space bar right now, it only plays Drum Funky one time through. But I want Drum Funky to go the whole time until all of my code is done because I want it to be background music. So one thing that I can do is I can come over to the control category and I can get that forever loop and I can put that around play sound Drum Funky and it will play until done or until my animation here is done. So I'm going to go ahead, if I hit my green flag here, and then I'm going to immediately hit my space bar also. This is why we don't really do it in an animation because it's a little awkward. But I'm going to go ahead and hit my flag and then my space bar, and that way both my background music and all of my other code for my cat go at the same time.